TAFS is leading the charge to make the 2024 Broker Carrier Summit possible, and we are so excited to have their support. In case you haven't heard, TAFS offers much more than freight factoring. It provides a comprehensive support system for trucking companies of all sizes, specializing in fast and efficient invoice factoring with the ability to pay carriers in as little as 1 hour. And TAFS services go well beyond factoring, offering a fuel card that unlocks major fuel discounts, flexible business loans that are designed to cater to the distinct needs of a carrier's operations, a dedicated, responsive client experience team, and much more. Black Box Logistics is a 3PL freight brokerage based out of Birmingham. Alabama Black Box Logistics was formed in 2020 by 3 friends, Logan Dyer, William Graves, and Will Hopkins, in a basement office with the goal of bringing transparency around the clock communication and hassle-free customer experience to the table. WireB is an AI-powered call automation platform built for freight brokers, designed to screen every inbound call in real time, block spoofing, phishing, and double brokering scams, verify compliance through integrations with FMCSA, Highway, and My Carrier Portal, and automatically connect brokers with qualified, vetted carriers, all before a human ever picks up the phone. Sales-CRM is built for freight broker and agent sales teams. Manage your shipper prospecting and follow-ups. Organize your carriers in the lanes they run. HD Ships is a leading logistics provider specializing in sustainable and tech-driven freight solutions. With hubs in Reno, Phoenix, and London, we deliver comprehensive services, including full truckload, expedited cross-border, and intermodal freight. Leveraging proprietary technology, we offer 24/7 tracking, real-time visibility, and advanced automation to ensure safe, compliant, and efficient transportation. Our commitment to sustainability enables clients to offset emissions through carbon credits, aligning logistics with environmental goals. At HD Ships, we prioritize transparency, reliability, and exceptional customer service, empowering clients to achieve seamless, sustainable logistics solutions worldwide.
Happy, I wanted to say Thursday, but it's Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's basically Wednesday with the holiday Friday.
Yeah, no freight moving on 4th of July. Black box offices are closed.
Well, no, we will, but we give everybody off for the 4th except offshore. So that means that I will have to be working because a lot of people won't be answering their phones. So a lot of stuff will come to me. So I will be working. No plans for the 4th, but we will be working from home. which is a good segue into later our discussion.
Yeah, no, great segue. Well, shout out to our sponsors, HD Ships. If you're looking to be an agent, Black Box, Will's Company, Sales Dash, CRM. Will and I have both met. Josh, Freight Specific CRM, a great company. We have agents that use it. Will's Company uses it. Wirebee, fraud's big in the big discussion right now. They have a real cool product. Go back and watch the episode we had them on. But yeah, definitely check out Wirebee for carrier. What's the best way to kind of describe it? I don't know if carrier vetting is the right word.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, it is carrier vetting. They've got AI, so on inbound calls, they're screening the calls. So if it's a bad actor, they're not pushing them through. They can run them against your carrier requirements to push them through. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just manual time if you don't have a service like that. Running the MC, checking it, it does that for you. So no, it's a great product, and yeah, like Matt said, we had them on the podcast, and we're very thankful to be aligned with them. They're doing some cool stuff. And then we've got our banner sponsor, Taft's Top 10 Factoring Company. Beyond that, just good people. They've got a lot of great educational content on their website. So if you're in the market for a factoring company or just want to learn more, definitely check them out. Well, yeah, man. So last week was a Monday show. This week is a Tuesday show, kind of mixing things up a little bit.
Yeah, first Monday show, probably our first Tuesday show, because we forever just did Thursdays and Fridays, and then we did through in Wednesdays. Now we're throwing in Monday or Tuesday, I guess, keeping everyone guessing.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, man, pumped for the episode this week. Got the Godfather of automation. The majority of our audience likely knows who Chad is. He's very active on LinkedIn. Beyond this, he's done some really cool work with AVRL. Black Box uses them. We love them. Can't say enough great things about how it's kind of transformed our processes and been a huge catalyst for growth for us.
Yeah, no, I had a chance to meet Chad in person in Minnesota. People do come to Minnesota for business, believe it or not. So
still not convinced Minnesota's a real place. Well, yeah. So with that said, Chad's been on a lot of podcasts, and like I said, the majority of you all likely know his story. So today we'll kind of be diving into some different topics. One, we're going to look at red flags for hiring, work from home takes, and just kind of chop it up. So we'll go ahead and bring Chad out.
Let's do it.
What's up, Chad?
Hey guys, how you
doing? Doing good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. I am taking time off for the 4th, which is probably a little unexpected, but
that's good. No, so yeah, when I say that, I'm not going to be actively working, but if and when there's ever a holiday with our people, people aren't going to be answering. Certain people are going to be out, drinking, whatever, partying, and then there's going to be stuff slipping through the cracks. So I'll be there to kind of clean up that so that they can really unplug because we do have some shippers that'll be open. So I'll do my best to unplug, but I'm sure I'll end up working.
The rest of your life.
Well, yeah, man. So we don't want to, like I kind of said in the intro, that everybody knows who you are. They know your story for the most part. For those that don't, can you give us just kind of a quick rundown on who you are, your story, and then we'll kind of jump into those other topics because, again, you've been on a lot of podcasts. Everybody likely knows who you are. But just in case for anybody tuned in, who is the Godfather of automation? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Chad Olesen. I'm the CEO of a company called AVRL. AVRL used to be called Advanced Voice Research Labs. We started out as a natural language processing company, trying to do a lot of the work that some of these AI tech companies are doing today. I don't think the industry was ready for what we were trying to do in 2017. In 2019, I was doing work with this massive retailer in Arkansas. They introduced me to JB Hunt. Came in, automated JB Hunt's transactional spot bidding, started them for a lot of the top 100 3PLs. Today, I think my team or our company automates about 25 million spot transactions monthly. We're easily the largest in the space. My team's about 80 engineers. They're phenomenal. We're really kind of dominating in that space. I believe we're probably the only one focused on a very specific type of pricing model that gives customers complete control over pricing logic versus limiting them with easier to use tech. We really believe in empowering the broker or the carrier to handle complex situations, train them on that space. And that's like a little bit about us.
I'm glad you kind of brought up pricing. So how does that? Because I feel like there's been a lot of talk about pricing recently. How affordable is it for brokerages to set up automation? I mean, I know everything's getting cheaper with AI and everything like that. I mean, without saying kind of what the exact costs are, I mean, is it something that like small brokerages can use up to enterprise, or kind of everyone kind of across the map?
Will, when did you and I meet? A year and a half ago?
Yeah, a year and a half ago, and I'll let you answer this, but I have a take with our experience being a smaller brokerage that uses AVRL. But yeah, about 18 months ago, we've probably been up a little over a year with the automation.
So I think me meeting Will, we would only work with enterprise level 3PLs and large asset-based carriers. Will was our first entry into mid-market. And that was kind of like a fun thing for us. And I definitely wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for a mutual contact that we have, who recommended that Will should reach out to me, and then that I should actually, I don't want to say gamble, but that I should go and work with the small, medium-sized 3PL. We were always afraid that smaller or medium-sized 3PLs wouldn't have the technical aptitude to kind of go into this. And what we realized along the way is that it's actually really based off of the strategy in which the 3PL holds. It's actually kind of a little bit of an unlock for us in understanding mid-market, is that some of them actually can't do think as complexly as a large 3PL, maybe even more so, because a specific account is more crucial to their entire organization's livelihood. And so for us, it was just like a really good entry in. And I think now we do support quite a few mid-level. I don't know if you consider yourself mid-size. Well, I don't know what the threshold is inside of the 3PL realm.
I'd say 50 million plus. You're around 50 million, aren't you, Will?
We might hit 50 this year, but I mean, I guess for small, we were under 50 when we started working with Chad and AVRL. So I'll speak from my perspective with it. And first of all, very grateful for the opportunity to work with you guys and be kind of the first smaller company. But as far as, Matt, your question, is it affordable, right? So I think it all comes down to and Chad, interrupt me at any point if I misspeak. This is how I see it in my experience. It's all about the ROIs, how it's implemented, right? So Chad, when you're saying it's kind of on the end user to build the strategy. For me, in our first automation that we deployed, the ROI is pretty much immediate, right? Because so what I did, or what we did rather, it's a specific account that we wanted to automate. And actually, to Chad's story, the way that we met, it was like 10 p.m. LinkedIn one night. And I had been just a load board slave, right? Like I'm sitting there accepting, declining, bidding, my girlfriend's like, go to bed, all this stuff. And then I was like, I posted on LinkedIn, does anybody know of anything that a robot or something that can accept, decline, or bid on loads for me? Like, where are my tech bros at? ? Just shit posting. And then got an intro to Chad, and we had a brief conversation. And Chad was actually in Birmingham at the airport about to leave when we spoke for the first time. And yeah, it was pretty quick, right? So the load board that we automated, I have a specific strategy. And every load that I quote on or bid on, I'm running through a series of questions or indicators in my head, right? So if it's this, I'm going here, I'm pulling off of this, and this might raise the rate or lower the rate. And what we were able and put it into a bot that's running exactly how I would run it. And what I had struggled with for the longest time as a bootstrap business owner is I'm working in the business, but not on the business. And we need this revenue that I'm generating from this load board, but it's essentially monopolizing my time where I can't be other places. So we're able to build out, my brain into this bot to bid on this board. So after a week or two, that the money that we had spent on the AVRL deployment, we had made back off of that bot, right? But if somebody were to go in and not really take ownership of it, and that's what I really like about AVRL, kind of putting it in the user's hands is you have to take ownership of it and do it for it to work. And so I think it's it's subjective, right? Because if somebody doesn't know what they're doing or have like solid pricing strategy, they might say this doesn't work. But if I don't know, for us it was fairly easy because again it was very clear what we wanted to accomplish, and AVRL had a very clear roadmap to execute on that. And like I said pre-show, it's been huge for not just Black Box itself, but like me as an individual in building this company, is because now I can work on the company as opposed to just sitting here bidding on this board. And if I were to go hire somebody to do that, one, taking the time to transfer all of that to them, then two, getting them to care like I care, and then three, the bots don't get sick, they don't get like sad or like have to take a day off. They're just there, and I can monitor them. Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's been great for us. So it's been not only affordable, but it's been very profitable for us to implement AVRL.
Yeah, I think I wanted to add a couple of things on there. I do want to give a shout out to David Stone. He was running Writers Brokerage when I think he introduced us. I think he's now running like a really small brokerage, trying to build it like banging down doors. But we recently hired someone who was like longtime industry vet. I think he's been in the industry for about 25 years, was at CH for a really long time, on site at West Rock for a while, and then went and led analytics at a brokerage out of Knoxville, Tennessee. He joined our team a little while ago, someone that we had worked with for several years, and he's going in with a lot of our newer mid-sized customers and helping them understand like what's possible from our tooling, and then how they can get better at cost modeling. I think one of the things that a lot of 3PLs really struggle with is identifying and separating like what's our cost to hire capacity versus what is my margin. And if you can't do that effectively, it's really hard to run a specific strategy in which like Hopkins is talking about. It's like, do I want high volume, low margin? Do I want high margin, lower volume, find the floor and the ceiling and kind of lift off of that? And that's what we really actively like promote to our customers.
Yeah. So I actually, Chad, the first time I met you in person, I went to McLeod and you were speaking with the individual that you're referencing. And that was kind of my first intro. That was while we were building out that first automation. So no, I think that's great to have somebody that's worked at the brokerages to kind of be that. I don't know that a lot of people, I feel like it might be a tough concept that are tech agnostic, and we were tech agnostic starting out and kind of being, yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say tech agnostic because it's not that we're Birmingham, Alabama, the brokerage I came from. We had, not even were we behind on tech. Like, we didn't have like Carrier 401 or anything. It was truly like the Wild West. And in hindsight, like it was just crazy, man. I had to have loads, double, triple brokered, all this shit railed. And all the owners are just like, that was just part of it. It's freight. And then come to find out when we started Black Box, like all these tools and stuff, it's like, man, it's crazy. I don't know how we operated the way that we did. But I think that there's a lot more companies like that they just don't know. They might not be on LinkedIn or you know, keeping up with trends or know what's possible. So they're just kind of like stuck in the old age. So when somebody comes to them with an idea like this to see actually how it works and how they can use it, and kind of connecting the dots from like where their understanding might be to what's possible, somebody that can kind of bridge that for the buy-in, at least my take on it. Well, I want to segue to we had talked about
Michael first. Michael's tuning in.
Yeah. Michael says, morning, fellas. Appreciate you for tuning in, Michael. Let's talk about work from home. So we all have three different situations. Matt hires agents. He's remote. Chad runs a fully remote team, from my understanding, and my company is fully in office. So we've got some different perspectives here. Seems to be a hot topic. Chad, I know that this is something that you've been talking about recently. If you want to speak on that a little bit before we dive in.
Yeah, I think, I work with all different types of brokerages at this point. I think we probably have 70 or 80 customers that are in like a large format style brokerage. And I literally was in Knoxville a couple of weeks ago, was in Chattanooga a couple of weeks ago, went to some brokerages that are customers of ours, and like the energy's like crazy, like super good, back like it was like pre-COVID. What I like started talking to a bunch of 3PLs about is like, are they going back to office? Are they going to stay remote? And consensus for a lot of my customers is that they're going to go back in office like 100%. And I wrote this post online. I got a lot of hate on it. People apparently are really against going back to office. I actually think it's good. I run a fully remote team though. And my fully remote team is comprised of like 90% engineers. And that's why I'm like okay with running a fully remote team. We have meetings like first thing in the morning, and then they really should be doing their engineering tasks and not being inundated with other things. However, my sales team and my customer team, we are online and talking like on the phone all day long. My director of operations lives like 2 blocks away from me. My head of sales or my head of growth lives just like a couple miles away from me. And I do meet with those people constantly, and I'm on the phone with them constantly. I'm really kind of anti Microsoft Teams chat on the commercial side. We really should be picking up the phone and like dialing each other.
Yeah.
Well, it's lost in written content too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's typing as opposed to a phone call.
Yeah, I'll say for Black Box. So I mean, I guess technically we do have some people that are offshore, right? We've got a team of about 14, 15 in the Philippines, and then we have a couple in Serbia, right? So which it's a little bit different, but some struggles with them being not in office. There's some stuff that's lost in translation or even just osmosis, right? So if I have an ops team working in a pod together, they can hear what's going on. If somebody's on a phone call with an external party, they kind of know what's going on, but then the person in the Philippines is just like lost. They don't know, they don't pick up on that. So there's some challenges there. And I'm not fully against, to Chad's point, if I ran a different company, I'm not opposed to the concept of work from home. But for what we do, when you're working hand in hand with people, it's so much easier to have them in office. So yeah, for what we do, we like everybody in office, excluding the offshore, which is used for different reasons to get, utility out of the most utility we can out of our money in offshore, some positions that are harder to keep staff, track and trace, data entry, that sort of stuff.
I was in Tampa talking to a 3PL. I work mostly with a bunch of like pricing folks, and a lot of like the best pricing people I felt have learned from in-office experience where they booked something at the wrong rate, and then the carrier reps like screaming at them and yelling at them. And like, that's kind of how they ended up learning. I'm not joking. Like if you go talk to a lot of pricing people in the space, like that's actually how they ended up learning. But what ends up happening when you go remote is you just get some like passive aggressive, like bullshit emails or like passive aggressive, like Teams messages. And the learning's not there because you end up just like taking it in and you're like, yeah, fuck you, like move on with life, versus like actually like this transfer learning that I think that a lot of brokerages run off of, especially because so much of the logic is tacit. Like it's learning by experience, is learning by getting burned or like hitting like a big win. And like that, I think it gets shared more easily inside of the brokerage than chatting with someone on Microsoft Teams.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think the osmosis is huge. They're just being around people. A lot of our reps, when we meet with them for quarterly reviews or something, they'll mention, like sitting next to this person and watching how they do things has really helped me. So a lot of it's like that passive learning that unfortunately I think our offshore teams miss out on, is just kind of being around people who are operating at a high level and just kind of like watching them and taking that into their own and trying it and then feeling a part of a team. So those shared wins and losses. To Chad's point, yeah, if I'm working from home and then somebody just sends me past, I'm just like, fuck it, like who cares? Read the chat, like go outside, don't really care. But if I'm in the office and I fuck up at like 9 a.m. and I gotta sit next to them for 6 hours to like work on a solution, and I think a lot of that friction leads to growth and just building the unit overall. Matt, what's your take on it? Because we've talked about this a little bit for like your own experience, what you prefer, but then you hire an agent. So I'd be interested to see your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit mixed on this topic. So like I honestly prefer to be in an office. I like thrive around people. Now I love what I do and I'm remote and that's fine. I love the ability to travel and do other things. But as far as like working, I actually probably prefer to be in the office. Now, an agent model, you can't really have an agent model as an in-office 1099 contractors. So, and it's interesting. I mean, I imagine most of the 3PLs Chad visited were like, top 50, top, large brokerages. And I think to learn in the industry, I think it makes sense because most of the people I'm hiring, they were in the office at a W-2 at one point. That's how they learned. Then they have the experience to go remote. We have a W-2 side too that's in the office in it's kind of interesting. We have a mix on both actually, because we have some people on the agent side, our director of marketing, all of our owners, our director of onboarding, they work in the office in Reno. We have a small office in Phoenix too. And then we have like our whole recruiting team is remote. We have some W-2 sales reps remote. So I think it really depends on the person, but I do think it's interesting. There are some recruiting companies in the logistics space that say, remote work is the only way, and that companies are, losing out on talent because they're forcing people to go back in the office. And, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, there's some people that I have trouble converting to be agents just simply because they like who they work with and who they're in the office with. But if I'm like going after someone to be an agent and they're already remote at a W-2, I mean, it's a lot easier to pull them. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages probably to W-2s if you like the people you work with and you like the office. So I don't know. It's kind of a mixed answer, but that's kind of how I view it.
I was on the phone last week with someone who's, I think, actively interviewing, right, with HD Ships, Matt, and I think they like some of the benefits that you guys offer, though. Like, even though it's fully remote, they like the teams that you have in Colombia that can help step in like after like hours or on the weekends. This person specifically at the brokerage that they were working for, they moved the type of freight that they could work like Monday through Thursday and then take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And I think that when you offer like a more flexible like agent model like that, where you have coverage in certain areas, like I think that attracts like a specific type of person.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's easier when you have operations help. I mean, there are some strictly agent programs where it's harder to have the operations help because we have a W-2 model. Kind of similarly to, Armstrong has a W-2 and an agent model. Same with Trinity, who are both large brokerages. I think there's some more that you can do when you have a W-2 side. Speaking of that, what do you guys do? Do you do any offshoring yourself, Chad? I know Will just brought up offshoring. We're doing offshoring. I know we're talking about hiring. What's your you guys doing offshoring at AVRL as well, like through Lean or through one of those big companies?
Not through Lean. So I do have contractors, but they're independent, and we went out and found them, and then we run them through like a BPO. But I have a team that's in Toronto. So like my data science team's in Canada. We felt like we could get better talent at like a better rate there. My CTO lives in Europe, and he has a team that's in Europe, and they're part of like a BPO. And then I have a team that's in India that are JavaScript engineers that end up doing a lot of the connections into systems, and they run a different BPO. And so our team is like heavily fragmented everywhere. We just have a policy, like if you want to work at AVRL, you're going to work Central Standard Time because that's where our customers work. And in certain regions across like the world, like in India, I probably pay better than a lot of employers because the expectation is that they're going to work Central Time.
Which is what time in India?
Shoot, dude, I don't even like midnight to 4 a.m. Like I think like some of my team members log in at like 9-10 p.m. and then they work until like 3 or 4 p.m. If we have like a massive sprint cycle and they work a 12-hour day, that's like a pretty rough schedule.
Yeah, our Philippines, it's 11:37 p.m. local time right now where they are. So yeah, it's something that we experience. That said, though, a lot of people where they live, specifically where we staff them, it's pretty common to work US jobs. So it's almost inverse, where I don't want to say they're nocturnal, but it's very common for people to work that shift. So it's not as much of a hurdle. But yeah, Chad, so one day I clicked on the AVRL company. I saw everybody that worked there, and it was like, yeah, international. It's like all over the place. It's nuts.
I think a lot of people forget that like our original company that funded us was SAP, and they're predominantly in like they're Europe's largest ERP company. And so our original customers were in like Germany, in Japan, in, like we worked with like Shell, and we would have to go to like the UK constantly. And so for us, like that original model of like my CTO even like was living in Europe is that BMW was our very first customer. And so like, we were like, okay, you're going to leave the US and go there. And then the government eliminated the International Entrepreneur Act, and it was really hard to get him back to the US. And so we were like, fine, you just stay in Europe, and Ashwin, like you're going to now be in Canada, and we're going to build like a situation there. And so my original team, we were all in the US. And then we moved to try and attract different things. And then everyone kind of got stuck there. And we were like, we'll just make it work rather than like dealing with the government.
Yeah. What a fire first customer, BMW. That's
right.
Cool. So what I do want to kind of bring up, so it's I think oftentimes when this is just the concept of work from home or in office, Rob, people have very black and white takes on it. And I think to Matt's point and HD ships, that's kind of gray, right? So you're able to get flexible and have some of the pros of the in-office. So you've got help or whatnot. So it doesn't have to be necessarily, I don't know, like either or. It could be hybrid. There's other options out there, right? And I don't think that people lose talent because of wanting maybe being too rigid, right? I think maybe case by case or like offering beyond just the I don't know, just the very basic, like either full-time in office or full-time remote. Like there's some middle ground there. And I think that exploring that and finding out what matters if you really want somebody, you can pull those levers to add value for them if you really want somebody.
I have a customer that's in Tampa, really large asset-based carrier, and their brokerage office is in Tampa. And they work in office 3 days a week. And then 2 days a week, everyone works remote. And I just happened to be there on a day that they were all in office and then a day that they were all remote. And like, it was like a morgue the second day. And I was like, dang, like that's actually maybe even a little bit more destructive than if everyone just worked remote or everyone was in the office, because the energy levels was like awful. Like it was awful.
One thing I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this, because here's an interesting scenario. What about performance based? I mean, obviously we all hire sales reps here. I know there's some 3PLs that do this. If you're doing $80K in profit a month and you want to work from home, then you have the ability to do that. You've earned that. And I think kind of the logic is like they don't want their top performers leaving to go to a remote company. What are your guys' thoughts on that? If you have like a top performer, one of your best reps who says, would you guys give them the option to work remote or I don't know.
I'll say this. So, I mean, I have a guy that's like 80K and like he has the flexibility. If he really wanted to work from home, he would. And like, I don't track him because he produces. If he ever is like, we trust him to perform because somebody that's built like that, that's doing 80K, like he wants to be here. He's building out a team. So it's not somebody that has to be like, hey, like, man, like you really need to like come in. I'm worried about you. Like he's going to do whatever he needs to do to build his book. And I don't have to worry about micromanaging him. I'm here to like look at his team, be in his Slack, whatnot, and build out the team with him. But it's not somebody where like I'm like having to be like, hey man, like you really need to come in or like you need to go home. If he needs to take a day, he's going to take a day. But for the most part, he's here, he's with his team, he's building it out. Somebody like that, at least in my experience, what we have here, they like want to be here. They want to build something. I don't think that you can do 80K a month from home. Like, I don't know. Our guy, at least the one I'm thinking of, he could, but he's here. It's not even, we don't even talk about it.
Yeah, maybe 40, 60K. I mean, depends if you're cradle to grave split model. I was using that as an example, but
I think that there are some really interesting 3PLs that are really pushing the boundaries on like compensation models. And like if you like go in and look at like Arrive, like a lot of their leadership compensation bonuses are based off of retention of tenured employees or like specific threshold of employee. Like they need the retention of their employees. And so they're compensating their leadership based off of retention of high performing individuals. And I like wouldn't be surprised that like in a like future state world of freight, like compensation continues to be this evolving change for leadership. And like the incentives I think are going to continue to just change.
No, that's
interesting. Go ahead, Will. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, that's so important to a brokerage's bottom line and scaling is because like if and when you hire. So for us, we build talent. We don't necessarily go out. Pretty much everybody that we hire to broker freight, 90% comes in very green. So they don't know anything about freight. So like that's a heavy investment. If I do a group of 8, like we're going to lose money on them for however long. And then say like maybe like 75% of them it works out. Then it's another 3 months they start breaking even. And the time that they're finally profitable to recoup like the future losses, the retention is so important. If and when you spend like 2 years building this person up and then they leave, then you got to do it again. It's so important to like retain your top talent and to build around them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is, I mean, brokerage can be death by 1,000 cuts. There's so many different costs and nuance, but I think the most important thing is retaining talent and building around them. Yeah, it's huge. I like the Arrive model. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah, I saw Matt Pyatt commented. This came up, I don't know, a couple months ago. I think they're one of the few. I don't want to misspeak here, but he commented something like they do a lot of surveys, and that's a big topic for them is retention. I would imagine that's part of the reason why they got so big. I mean, I won't name the companies that I hear from a lot of their reps, but I don't really hear much from Arrive's reps, and I think that kind of says something about their retention. They really do value that, because there are some large 3PLs that I hear from their reps a lot. So and Arrive's not one of them. So I think it's interesting that I'm not surprised to hear what you just said about Arrive, Chad.
Arrive also has a mentorship program, and I don't know a ton about it, but I think that that's important too. Is kind of like getting people involved and feeling a part of building it, right? So like the new people, they come in, they have maybe somebody that's mentoring them, so they have a point that they can go to. The other person's helping them out. I don't know. I think that's important too. A lot of people, they bring them in, put them in a training pod, and they don't like get ingrained in the company. They just kind of like feel on the outside. They're not bought in. So I think that's big for them as well. Well, guys, let's get into hiring red flags. We all hire people here. That's a good topic. Have any immediate thoughts on that when you're doing interviews? What are you looking for? What are you kind of wary of as red flags, something that's a deal breaker or whatnot?
So the reason why they brought like this topic is because one of my head of growth sent me this like Instagram video of this guy that's like, I won't hire someone if they do this. I won't hire someone if they do this. They won't hire someone if they do this during an interview. And I kind of like had created my own that I had fired back in a video that was probably not fully work appropriate. But I think that for me, like people who focus on very specific thing, like in an interview, if you focus like heavily on work-life balance, I will not hire you. It doesn't mean that I don't support work-life balance. I just think that I'm like hiring you to come in and make AVRL a priority. And I really feel like people who struggle with work-life balance, they're probably working the wrong position. They're working for the wrong organization. It shouldn't be this like work-life balance. It shouldn't be like, I'm done with work. It should be a part of your life and integrated into your life in a meaningful way. And so like, that's like a top one for me, is that I just like, it's an immediate red flag for me.
Yeah,
I think you posted another one that I think it was controversial. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. I think it's maybe like you were hiring for something like 6 months ago, and you were talking about if they're 3 minutes past the interview time, you just cancel it and you're not hiring that person. Was that you who posted that? I think.
Yeah, but I will even do that in sales. Like if you showed up like 4 minutes late, we're out of there. We probably wouldn't reschedule with you, just from the standpoint of like just purely like respect of time. The candidate, like I remember growing up and trying to get like a first position, and it's like really, really hard. And I think that a lot of employers are looking for the reasons why they shouldn't hire you, not like why they should hire you. And so in an evaluation, if I show up and I'm on time and I'm super busy and you're looking for a job and you're late and you haven't even like messaged me to be like, hey, I'm going to be a couple minutes late, or this is going on. If you just show up late, I don't even know if I'd wait 4 minutes. I don't think I'd even wait 3 minutes for you.
Yeah. I think that's where it's a little different with agent hiring. So I would agree with that, to some degree with hiring for like recruiters. Like I've hired recruiters on our team, but for agents is a little bit different. We've had agents like big reps that talk to, then they ghost, disappear for 2 months, don't answer any type of messages, and then they come out. I feel like agent hiring is maybe a little bit more sales than actually it is hiring people. But I mean, some of these top reps know that, they have customers, they have a book, they can kind of get away with some more things. And sometimes that's for the better, sometimes it's for the worse. But as far as hiring like recruiters or hiring internally, like W-2 reps, I would agree with that. Unless because you can send a simple message before too. Hey, I'm running a couple minutes late. It's not very difficult to do.
Yeah. For me, it's like a courtesy thing. Like you just don't text me. Like my literally email is, my cell phone number is in my email like footer. You could like text me and be like, I'm running late, or call me. Like I'm cool with that. Just nothing and then showing up late really drives me nuts.
That probably saves you a lot of time on the back end. even, I'm just going to speak about like potential customers, like the whole idea that not all customers are a good customer, right? And if like that's how they're starting their relationship, then most likely, I don't know, it's probably going to be that customer that's taking way too much time just being problematic over time. So I think that's a very powerful thing to stick to, kind of valuing your time and your organization's time, right? If somebody doesn't have the respect to show up on time, or at least let you know, then that's probably not somebody that you want to do business with. Yeah, I think that's powerful.
How much pushback did you get on the work-life balance? Your take on that? Did you have all the people don't come after you on LinkedIn?
People don't like the work-life balance. People don't like that I don't like unlimited PTO as well. Like during interviews, like if someone brings up that the last role had unlimited PTO, I personally believe it's a scam. And like unlimited PTO, they like organizations like pressure you not to take time off. Like you probably end up using less PTO with unlimited PTO than if you had like scheduled PTO. But I feel like so many people are just brainwashed into like, I have unlimited PTO and I want it. And I was interviewing these candidates on this like this one role, and they were like, well, I have unlimited PTO now and I didn't need that. And I'm like, okay, why do you need that? And like, she's like, well, because I have it now. And I'm like, okay, this person has no ability to negotiate. Like I'm just like looking at like, it has nothing to do with the unlimited PTO. It's like, at least tell me the reason why you need it and why it's important to you.
Yeah, I like that, like digging into the logic. So for me with Black Box, again, the majority of our hires are very green. They don't have experience. So I almost want to say the barrier to entry for what we're all hiring for looks different. Like I would imagine, Chad, you have lots of applicants for certain positions that you're hiring for, and it's much more competitive. Matt, for you, you're looking for higher performers, people going to the agent model. For us, a lot of times it's like these red flags that I've had in my mind have evolved, right? Because it's again, we're hiring green cradle to grave brokers. They likely have no relevant experience. And we almost have to pay to play. And a great example of that is we've got a recent guy in our hiring class that he just like walked in. We didn't have an interview set or anything. He didn't have it was just like an odd thing. He's like, I want a job. He's an older guy. Most people that we hire are younger. And we're kind of sitting there like, should we hire him? Should we not hire him? It's like, I don't know, man. Like this is probably going to turn out well. It's like you have to pay to play. So I hired him and he's killing it. He's the first one. I mean, he's murdering it 3 months in, right? And there's just certain things on paper that we've looked at. We've been like, man, this is the perfect fit idea. Like he fits our like, whatever prototype, like he's the one, and then they come in and they suck. So for us, it's again, that concept of for the new cradle to grave brokers, it's got to pay to play and then just cut ties early if we need to.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was saying maybe it's a question for Chad too. I mean, how do you delve into, because this is probably more where like an agent model, if they kind of exaggerate their abilities or their previous history, they're not going to make any money. So I run into that less, and Will's hiring, green to some sense. But I mean, do you ever have that issue, kind of like what Will was talking about, like somebody perfect on paper, they say all this ability, and then you come in and 2 months later, you're like, oh, I screwed up. This was not a good hire.
Yeah, I mean, we have it. Like we've had that. I think that you have to just like continue to learn from that and continue to evolve from that. Like on the engineering side, or if we were like hiring an analyst, like you can guarantee we're going to test your ability on a screen share in front of you while you're on camera. And I'm going to have my engineers, and then you're going to send me your code and I'm going to process it and share my screen. And then you're going to tell me every error that's on it. Like we do this when we hire analysts, when we hire like people that have a technical background. On the sales side, it's a lot harder. I haven't found someone in the last like year on the sales side or on the commercial side from posting a job and then like going through like at traditional candidates. I've met all of these people that I've hired at like a conference or like through some like online forum. And then we ended up connecting and then like spent like, months talking together to see if it was a good fit. But I try and like read into everything, but I'm really looking at like, okay, what is the reason why I shouldn't hire this person? Not trying to get excited about the possibility of hiring them. So, and I think like you have to like evolve and adapt. I have this person on my team named Colin. Colin cannot work from home. He can't. So we rented him an office space in Knoxville. and he has like people that he knows and socializes with, and like that's great. And if that's what he needs, then we need to like respect that because we want him on our team. But I think that you have to like really kind of try and understand the candidate as well and like what they actually need.
I love that. We have some agents who have done that, gotten workspaces, co-working space, just because they want the agent pay, but they don't like working remote. They need to be in an office, so they go to those, shared spaces.
Yeah. I was trying to think like, do you guys have any like good hiring questions that you ask? Like I would have this like one that I ask everyone, and Will, you had mentioned like, oh, you got to like dig in. I was at this Chick-fil-A one time, and I was like waiting for a meeting, and I was just like eating, and I like was sat down, and they were doing an interview. And I think like Chick-fil-A employees are like legit. Like you go in there like super attentive, like they're like really good. Same thing with like In-N-Out. And this lady like asked this young guy like, what's his favorite brand? And this is a question that I now ask everyone, like when we're going through an interview process, is I want to know your favorite brand and then why. And it like tells you a lot about what's important to you as a person. And the only way that you can fail this question is if you're like, I don't have one or I can't think of one. But I just think that like asking questions like that lead deeper into like what's important to people is really important.
Yeah, that's a good one. I personally don't have any set questions. I'll say this. So I've taken a step back for the entry level hires. We have a hiring team now. So I've kind of separated myself from that because for the longest time it was like I'm posting on LinkedIn, I'm meeting these people, bringing them in, and then when we do that, I'm not the hiring guy. I don't deal with people the first 6 months in. I do the teams and the more advanced operations here. And whenever I would like interviewed them, hired them, they just think I'm their point of contact, and I'm always redirecting them. And I'm getting like all these calls about shit like I don't want to deal with. So like the entry level stuff, I don't necessarily do as much now. But we've had some like higher level hires. But for all of them, and this isn't like very structured, but like I don't mess with them, but I'm kind of like playful a bit to see how they like take it. Because a lot of what we do is just conversations and sales. So like I kind of like say something to throw them off and see how they react, or just have like a playful conversation, see if they're like stiff or if they're able to kind of like match tones and just how they communicate with me, so to speak. So it's not a set question as much as, I don't know, I make it like almost kind of informal as opposed to like these set questions that like the hiring team does. I just want to get a feel for them as a person.
That's dope. I like that.
It's hard. Yeah, I was going to say like for agents, it's a little bit different. I'll maybe talk about kind of hiring recruiters in that sense. I mean, I think when you're doing a role for sales, you kind of have to get an idea of kind of like what this isn't more of like this kind of maybe goes a long chat question, more of like, work-life balance. But I'm kind of curious in their previous roles, because like when you're recruiting agents and a lot of these top reps, they're busy like at this time of day. They want to talk to you at 3, 4 on a Friday afternoon, sometimes 7, 8 o'clock at night. You have to, and like we're super flexible. Like my team, I don't have them clock in, clock out. If they need to go to a doctor's appointment, I don't care. But you have to be able to take like a call after hours, or when the candidates want to speak. So I kind of asked them at their previous role, like what were you doing? If a candidate wanted to talk at this time, or did you have to take any calls after hours or things like that? Because I mean, that's just kind of the reality. I mean, it's logistics as a whole, but and recruiting is way less, than being a broker in terms of, nobody's going to call you like, wanting a truck at, 1 a.m. or something, but you do have to kind of be really flexible. So that's a question I kind of like to ask of their previous roles, because if you're just kind of I'm rambling here, but if you're just kind of in like an 8 to 5 and you clock out at like 5 o'clock, you're going to have a very difficult time, doing recruiting.
For sure.
A couple more basic red flags, which I say basic because I feel like I've heard them a lot, at least. It's like one, like tenure at previous companies. So again, we talked about broker retention. So if they just job hop all the time, we're not really interested in that. We want to, and we kind of want to frame that when they come on to Black Box, we want like are they seeing it as a career move or for a job move? Because again, the people that we hire, at least on the entry level, it's an investment, right? Like if you want just a job for 3-6 months, like go work hourly somewhere, you'll probably enjoy it more and you might make more money. The first 3 to 6 months sucks. We tell everybody it sucks.
Sure.
We're very candid because when I got hired at my first brokerage, I was like a very young kid. I was, like I say kid, I was 18. I had worked all these odd jobs, and they kind of like sold me a pipe dream of like, you're going to come in, like you're going to go buy a beach house. I got hired as a 1099. I was 1099, but I was an employee. They paid me $250 a week. They charged me $5 a load to rent their equipment for every load that I moved, and 20% flat. So people have been there like 4 or 5 years, and they're still getting charged $5 a load to move the equipment. Man's moved like 30,000 loads. He's still getting charged $5. But man, it was frustrating for me because like I came in and it's not like what they had told me it was. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to come in and learn the industry, right? But I was like, why weren't they just straight up with me? My expectations coming in. So we try to tell everybody, if it's a cradle to grave broker, like what it is, right? This is like what the first 3 months looks like, 6 months, 9 months, a year. This is where we expect you to be. And if you really want to do this, like think about it. If somebody, another thing is, like first, like their previous experience, and then two, just like, their mindset, that kind of stuff. Are they able to think kind of like long-term, or is it all immediate, right? Like, do they see the vision for like what we want them to do here? Getting that buy-in is huge.
I think buy-in is like absolutely crucial. I have this question that I ask, like if someone is always like, I didn't feel like my ideas were appreciated at my former company, that means that they actually couldn't create their own personal buy-in on anything. And so like, I'm constantly looking for like, can this person like buy into our organization, but then also sell like their own ideas. I think one of the things that makes my team like really successful is everyone is like super aggressive. I'm sure you guys have met some of my like teammates, like they're like really aggressive, and we don't have this like traditional organization with what I say goes. It's like, I do want everyone's ideas. I do want someone to sell me something, but please sell it to me. Like sell it to me in a way that you like care and you want to take ownership over it.
Yeah. That's kind of similar to if and when we have somebody come in to interview and they're like the victim of like, we asked them about their previous role and they're just like, oh, like they did this and that, and they just like hit on this company. And then it's like, I don't know, that always like rubs me the wrong way. And like, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't respect it. I don't like it. And it's just like, I don't like really like want that around here, because it's so toxic. Like this whole victim mentality, like what you're saying, like that's a great frame to look at it through. Is like, nobody appreciated my ideas, but really like they probably couldn't sell their ideas. And then the whole idea of like people being aggressive and like entrepreneurs inside an organization, right? So like building and like that scale, right? As opposed to this like, I don't know. Y'all see where I'm going with it. That's cool.
For sure. Yeah.
That's where it's different too with the agent stuff. A lot of people are reaching out to me because maybe their W-2 changed their commission structure, or they didn't get like something happened to them. So I do hear a lot about that, but that's kind of like a unique type of hiring. Like I would agree with you guys, like when we're hiring recruiters or internally, but for the agents, I naturally hear generally that's a catalyst of why they reached out, is something happen. Now if they're sitting there on the phone. I guess another one too, I'm curious your thoughts on. I had the most bizarre call like a month ago. I had the guy, he worked for a $300 million brokerage, and he told me he was the smartest person there. He went on like a 5 to 10 minute monologue, asked if he could take over our W-2 accounts to make them more profitable. It was like, I wasn't sure what I was really listening to. Like I think there's a big difference between confidence and arrogance too. And that's like, if I'm talking to a potential agent and I want them to be confident, but if they're arrogant, it's almost never works out, and they're almost never what they say they are. I don't know if you guys have experienced that in interviews too, where people talk a big game and then nothing happens.
Oh yeah, we love that.
Yeah, we get it a lot for like inbound people that like they like want to sell us on hiring them to do a certain thing. And it's always like talking really big and it's ambiguous. Then you ask for specifics and they can't really they want to like tell you how great they are, but they can't like show you anything. And like, that's just a waste of everybody's time. And like, I hate to say it, like when we first started this thing, like I was pretty young and naive, and like I would like hear people out and I would always get so excited, man. Talk to this guy's telling me all this stuff, real amped up. And then like I waste like a month of my time like trying to get set up. Like, this guy's full of shit. Like, he didn't know what he's doing. Like, he's worthless. I just waste all this time. And also, like, I look like an idiot because, like, I've gone out and, like, I've told people around here about this thing, this, like, really cool idea. And it's just, like, all silly. So, like, I'm real big on, like, show me, don't tell me. And, like, when somebody has to, like, hype themselves up so much, but they can't, like, point to anything they've done, it's just all noise.
Yeah. I think I've probably, like, hired, I don't know, probably 10 salespeople who sold me. And now I actually have some engineers in our sales, interviews, primarily because that's what they like to dig into. Matt, is like, I want to like dig into like the details of what you actually did. For me, like I'll take the bait on someone selling me that's good. Like I will, because I want to believe it.
Yeah. That's cool. I don't notice too many people have engineers and sales meetings, but I think that's a unique idea. I'm sure that's helped your hiring.
They're like the only ones that dig in, like to Will's point of like, show me what you did. Okay, what did you do of that? You know, because some people will be like, yeah, like what sold like, you know, $18 million worth of stuff. And then like you go in and you look at like what they actually did. No, they're on a team that did that and they did X part of it. I want someone who can take it end to end. And the engineers just have a different type of brain that like wants to peel back the onion and look at all the layers.
What's your guys' thoughts too on like, because I think this would be probably a good question. I think you post about this too, Chad, but like salary versus commission asks. Like, are you like nervous if somebody tells you that they want an extremely high salary but a very low commission in that regard? What's kind of your thoughts on that? I know it's different for Will because Will has, you know, everyone the same and kind of agents, you know, they're obviously straight commission, but I think you kind of have a unique where it's a lot more negotiating back and forth.
I have written about this, and I like that post actually kind of like blew up, and I like got like a lot of flack from it, but I don't think that people understand like where I start from. So like if I looked at like software, like OTE, like a really core OTE, it's like what, 275, 300K annually. Like, yeah, I don't want to like move past 50-50 split on commission. Like if you need 200K as your base to make 300, I have zero confidence in the fact that you could actually deliver me any value. And so I think it has to do with like, what's the total OTE? And then where's the split in there? Like I can't give someone like 250K and then 50,000 in commission. Like that just is nonsense.
100%. I think that's kind of how we structure without getting into our recruiter pay. We have, I think, one of the highest agent commission recruiter pays out there, but we definitely do not have the highest salary. But I think you can draw really strong people that way too.
Well, yeah. It's like, man, like we've explored this. Like I was looking for a VP of sales for a little while, which went in a different direction. But I interviewed like quite a few people, and that's like it's a big position, right? So, but there were so many people. It's like like I want to set up as skin in the game, like hunter role, and everybody like one of these really big salaries, like small commission. But they were talking about how they could produce all this revenue. I was like, well, like man, if you can, then like that's more than your salary. So like, why are we doing this? And like, man, there's a couple of times in interviews that just got frustrated. I was just like, ended the call. I was like, this makes no sense to me. You know, if you're telling me that you can bring this revenue, and I'm telling you I'll pay you this percent, it's going to be like, I don't know, this much more than that salary. But like we're hung up on this salary. So like either you're full of shit or like you don't know what you're talking about, because that makes no sense. So like no.
Yeah. This is exactly. Oh, go ahead.
No, I talked to W2. You know, some of the big W2 hunters out there, and that's one of the biggest things they run into is these people wanting high salaries, and then they don't make it. You know, they get fired, and then the recruiter doesn't get paid, and it's all disaster. It's happening a lot out there right now, I think.
Yeah, what Will was just talking about is exactly what my post was about, is that like a sales rep has zero confidence in their ability if they won't take the higher commission, if they're literally bragging about how much revenue they could bring you. I'm just like, okay, cool. That was all bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's setting everybody up for failure too, because like if and when, like, okay, say I get played, whatever. I hire the person for the higher salary, expecting to bring in this revenue. Like they can't cover the salary if they can't bring in that revenue. So then it's like, you know, like 3 months later, like push comes to shove, I'm like looking over the numbers, like I can't afford to like keep you employed here. So like now, like you're unemployed.
Yeah.
And like 2, we're back to where we started. So like it just doesn't make sense to me. That's super frustrating, because it's like, yeah, it's like if you have the confidence, you say you're going to do this, then like, let's do it. But like, let's not like do all this like back and forth about it if you're not confident about it.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone watches this on YouTube, they're going to probably expect us to be talking about tech and automation. We spent the whole time talking about hiring, but I think it was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. See if Chad can clone my dog at some point.
Is it a robot dog?
No, it's a normal dog, but you know, I don't know, man. They're you guys can figure it out.
I live in this building in Austin, and this guy has a robot dog. It's like remote controls it around.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I actually watched, which I don't want to, we're at our hour, right? And this is like super off topic, but I watched a movie last night. It's called Megan. It's about like this like robotic toy. It turns evil, right? Ends up killing everybody. So I don't know if I'm going to like want to get a robotic, anything like that for a little while after watching that.
Was it good?
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. My girlfriend didn't like it, but yeah, so Megan 2 is out now in theaters, and I was going to go see that. So like, I got to watch Megan 1. I enjoyed it. Cliff notes real quick if anybody gives a shit. Lady designs toys. She creates like an interactive toy, which basically like I guess you could call it like AI, right? Like it picks up on emotions or whatnot and continually learns. Ends up going rogue, and she's paired with her like friend, right? Like the child, and she's supposed to protect it. Ends up seeing threats, kills a dog first, kills a little boy second. And like third, she just goes rogue and starts murdering everybody. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. I'll check it out.
Dude, check it out. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, second one.
I'm gonna check it out, but maybe.
You guys should. Well, awesome. Yeah, Chad, we really appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed the episode. Yeah, the topics that we covered, it's great. I think that the audience will enjoy it as well. So it's a nice change of pace.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for having me.
All right.
Yeah, talk soon.
Bye.
That was fun. It kind of reminds me, are we up to episode 80 again? We're talking about all this hiring. When did we say we're bringing Ryan and Bill back on? Was it episode 100 or what? I
don't know. I have to check the messages, but it was up there. Yeah, we're getting up there in episodes, and we quit putting the episode in the title, so I have to go back in StreamYards. But I'd imagine you got close to 70 or so.
Well, shout out to our sponsors, Sales Dash CRM, Freight Specific CRM. Josh and Drew are fantastic. Some of our agents use it. Will's company uses it. HD Ships, Drive Recruit Agents, Black Box, Will's company, Wirebee. They've been on the show. Carrier Vetting through AI, great product. They're really growing. And brought to you by TAFS, our banner sponsor, top 10 factoring company, Kansas City based. Reach out to Ryan and Rob, great people.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll have the dog of the week out on Thursday since Friday is a holiday, and yeah, we'll be back at it next week.
Sounds good.
All right, see you, man.
All right, see ya.